What's going on, guys? Soldier Only here for Sports Nerd Web. Welcome to this week's episode of Sports Nerd Web Weekly. We got a few things to get into on the video game front this week, as well as some heartbreaking news on the film front for movies. It definitely hits close to home for me just because I'm a huge fan of the franchise, but we'll get into that later. First things first, what we'll get into on the video game front this week, we are rapidly approaching the Nintendo Switch launch. I didn't pre-order one. I'm kind of implementing the whole wait and see tactic again with this Nintendo console as well. I did the same thing with the Wii and the Wii U. I did have a Wii for a little bit. I never did get a Wii U. So I just really hope that Nintendo actually gets the third-party support that they're hoping and that they're kind of advertising that they're going to get with this console, because that's what it comes. Bottom line, that's what it comes down to for me, is the third-party support. Like what I've done with the Nintendo consoles in the past, like the GameCube and the Wii, is I got it pretty much just for whatever Zelda game was out at that time. And it's cool to see that with the Switch that the Zelda Breath of the Wild is actually launching with it. So which that game looks phenomenal. I can't wait till I finally do play Zelda Breath of the Wild. But yeah, like I said, I'm just kind of implementing the wait and see. But on the I'm reading this one off my phone here. But on the Nintendo Switch front. There's an article from Polygon that came out earlier today. It says Nintendo Switch to be available for launch day walk-ins at GameStop. If you missed out on Nintendo Switch pre-orders, you'll have a chance to buy one on launch day. GameStop stores will have a limited supply of consoles for walk-in customers, the company announced today. Quote, customers who were not able to pre-order the system are encouraged to attend GameStop's midnight launch events, end quote, GameStop said in a news release. The Nintendo Switch will be released worldwide on March 3rd, 9 days from today. Of course, considering how few NES Classic units Nintendo was able to ship to retailers, at launch most stores were getting allocations in the single digits. The chances of picking up a Switch without a pre-order may be slim, which is pretty understandable. GameStop also announced that it will sell 2 different Switch bundles on its website. As is usually the case with these kinds of upsell packages, neither bundle will offer a discount over buying the components separately. The first bundle, it comes with the Nintendo Switch plus the Switch Pro controller plus the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for $429.99, and then the bundle 2 is that plus Piggyback's official guide to Breath of the Wild for $454.99. So that's so if you weren't able or haven't pre-ordered the Nintendo Switch, it looks like that there is going to be what they quote in here, a quote-unquote limited supply of Nintendo Switch consoles available at GameStop's on launch day. So if you didn't pre-order one and you are planning on trying to get one, I would probably I'm sure there's probably going to be like a line, and like they said that that they can go to the midnight launch for it. So I'm definitely interested to see how well the Switch does. I mean, because obviously the Wii U was a flop, especially for them to be coming out with a new console already when the Wii U is only a few years old. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes for Nintendo. If the Switch flops like the Wii U, I personally think that Nintendo should do what Sega did. Probably stop making home consoles and maybe go. I mean, Sega went just making the video game route, but Nintendo would actually probably be better off if they'd stop making home consoles and maybe just focused on handhelds and games. And obviously they're putting a lot of attention into their mobile games, ever since the success of Pokemon Go and the Super Mario Run, I think is what it's called. So yeah, so that's it for the Switch. Also, there was some news about uh, new Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, free updates and features detailed. Says here, this is from a GameSpot article. We know plenty of paid DLC is on the way, and Infinity Ward has now shared new details on some of the free new content and features coming to Call of Duty Infinite Warfare in the near future. As part of its February community update, Infinity Ward revealed that it will have some new customization options out before the end of the month. Specifically, you'll be able to rotate your rig a full 360 degrees, letting you better see how it looks. The post-game winner circle will also be changed so that your rig is carrying the last weapon you used in the match, so as to let you better show off your customized setup. Infinite Warfare's emblem editor had been previously scheduled to also launch by the end of the month, but that's no longer the case. Additional testing is now needed, with a new tentative release date of mid-March. Infinity Ward also promised its plans to introduce, quote, new content on a regular basis to keep gameplay fresh, end quote, though it didn't offer any specifics. Quote, be sure to visit the quartermaster regularly to see what new items your robot friend has to offer, end quote. It added, also on the way, but without any specific launch window, is a new mission team that offers its new equipment and gear. Prestige levels will be increased, and we'll see some new features for score streaks, the quartermaster, and more, such as community poll giving you a say in picking the upcoming week-long featured game mode. Let's see, it just says here, Infinite Warfare has proven to be a huge seller. It was the top-selling game in the US last year, and Call of Duty was the top-selling console franchise, which isn't really surprising. But however, the game did see a steep decline as compared with the previous year's Black Ops 3, and failed to meet publisher Activision's expectations. The company recently admitted the futuristic setting didn't resonate with a portion of the Call of Duty audience. It hopes that won't be the case again with this year's game, which is described as going back to the franchise roots. So, that leads you to believe that, that this year's Call of Duty game will either be, probably set more in modern times, or maybe it will actually go back to World War II. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that, especially with seeing the success of Battlefield 1, at the end of last year. So, I mean, I really wouldn't be surprised if they did that. Even though Infinite Warfare had, pretty much the most disliked video in YouTube history after it was unveiled back in June at E3 last year, I'm also not surprised that it still sold well. As I said in my videos last year, that after that before Infinite Warfare came out, I said it's still a juggernaut. It's still going to sell like crazy, but obviously, it didn't sell as well as Activision is used to, or as much as that they were hoping. So I'm curious to see what this year's Call of Duty game is going to look like. I'm pretty open and admittedly not the biggest Call of Duty fan. I do have Infinite Warfare, and I have played it. I haven't beat the campaign yet, and I was actually really surprised by the campaign. It was actually a lot better than I was planning on it being, and I'm probably actually gonna I need to pick it up and start playing it again and get that campaign wrapped up. Same thing with Titanfall 2, because I also didn't finish that campaign at all. I didn't finish that campaign either, and that one was amazing as well. So we'll have to see. And then now getting into the heartbreaking movie news I was referring to. If you know me, it's no secret that I am a huge Friday the 13th fan. And the next Friday the 13th movie has now been canceled. And the cancellation comes just 6 weeks before principal photography was supposed to start. Paramount Pictures has put the axe to its latest installment in the Friday the 13th franchise. The shocking news comes as production company Platinum Dunes and director Breck Eisner were in pre-production, just 6 weeks away from the start of principal photography. The film was set to open on October 13th. According to The Hollywood Reporter's sources, the critical and box office failure of the studio's Rings led them to second-guess the idea of a new Friday the 13th. Despite the financial success of the 2009 reboot, the 13th film in the franchise was not going to be a sequel. After years of production hell, it was said that the film would be yet another reboot, this one apparently serving as an origin story for Jason Voorhees and his mother. Prisoners scribe Aaron Guzikowski was behind the script. It's always a shame to see a studio losing their taste for mainstream horror, but the good news is this could mean a shift in direction for Paramount. Rings, like most reboots, was awful, and the runaway success of M. Night Shyamalan's Split could potentially mobilize more studios to invest in original horror. So, yeah, that I have been, as it said here, you know, this film has been in development hell for a long time. I mean, so many there's been so many iterations. There's been several scripts written and then scrapped. I mean, even a couple years back they were going down the line of maybe like some kind of found footage route, you know, and which I'm glad they didn't do that. But I really want a new Friday the 13th film, and this one that they were working on was sounding like it was gonna be dope. You know, it sounded like it was different than a lot of the other ones. One of the things I heard is that it was supposed to be a period piece, that it was actually supposed to take place in the 80s. So it was probably going to have, you know, a lot of the like a lot of the taste, you know, and stuff from, you know, like from the original Friday the 13th films from back in the 80s. So, but it definitely sucks seeing it canceled. So one thing I did read about it though is that if Paramount doesn't if they don't use the franchise, or they don't make a movie, I can't remember when it is, but I think it's like in a certain time. I think the rights to the franchise would go back to New Line, and it's been pretty public that New Line does want to make a new Friday the 13th. So I guess that might be the silver lining, is if, you know, obviously it doesn't look like, you know, there's going to be one anytime soon. And so if Paramount doesn't make it, hopefully when the rights go back to New Line, you know, hopefully they'll pick it up, and, you know, we'll get another Friday the 13th movie out. So, I mean, I liked the 2009 reboot. I thought that one was really good. So, and it, like, it, and by the money it made, you know, it was successful. So I don't know. I don't like how this studio is canceling. If this is true, if it is canceled based on the new Rings flopping, that's, I don't know. Obviously, Friday the 13th would do a lot better than that. I mean, Friday the 13th. You know, this movie would be the 13th one in the series. So it's been a hugely successful horror movie franchise. So, I mean, there was even supposed to be a TV series that was supposed to be coming out, and that didn't happen. But as far as the video game's concerned, I did see people on Twitch playing the beta and things like that, and the game looked pretty cool, and it's actually supposed to be coming out really soon this spring. So at least we have that. But as for now, it doesn't look like there's going to be a Friday the 13th film anytime soon. So, but that's going to do it for this week, for this week's episode of Sports Nerd Web Weekly. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, hit that thumbs up, hit that sub button to sub to the channel for more content. You can follow me on Twitter at SportsNerd48. Keep up to date with everything on the channel, and we will see you guys on the next one. Cheers.